in bed, I'm injured. Just checking this has gone on YouTube. Oh. I'm just checking this.
Navigate up.
Hold on. Just checking this channel. Yeah, UK Freedom. I'm just checking this on check. UK Freedom. I'm just checking this out. Right, let me show you something. Home Group Limited don't give a shite about disabled people. The individuals, I've injured my back, I've injured on my body, whiplash injuries. I'm going to the drive documentation. I can't move today, I'm bedbound. Don't know how long for. Okay, the CEOs, men and women of Home Group Limited, head office in Newcastle. The men and women working for the contracted companies have been, again, all this has been, they cold call unlawfully, they discriminate, negative. I'm really poorly, so bear with me. Their intentions to label me in their computer systems, cold calling when I'm bedbound, this time of morning. I'm still in bed. I have to be resting my body. Previously, they were put on notice in typed documentations by email. It's been going on for years. This is a company now. Head office is based Apartment Mighty PLC. MPS Housing Limited is a company and its company number. House employees nationally and especially locally. All these previous dates should come and complete that claim to have messed up with the boiler, for example, loads of things that they haven't done properly. So I've given them loads of opportunities to correct their mistakes. Well, they don't want to repair my wet room. Will never do that. And the reason being, they want to get me displaced up my secure tender, my rights to my social housing. Instead, right, Home Group Limited is a company, there's a head office in Newcastle. My previous amended emails, 13th of May 2019, to offer them to redo, because they don't care when you're extremely alarmed. I got injured yesterday because some idiot, without me knowing, you've got their in-house lawyers, their SAR number, I don't know if they're still working there. The CEO is Mark Henderson. They keep always threat their terminology. Guy called Carl, Housing Management, call it support lawyer. 4 rebuttals of malicious actions against me. It's been going on and on and on. Their employees, they cease and desist from disclosing false information. They've ignored all this. It's going on for a long time. They always are doing this to other people. So whether they're families, children, with children, elderly, disabled people, and that's what I've been experiencing for years and to date. They're not going to repair anything, let alone a cupboard in the hallway. How it's designed is unbelievable. I have a right to my lawful rights like anybody in social housing, and not to have reduced. They get their rent, so I'd sort a reduce of the housing rent, social, what they call it, service charges. And because they refuse, the loss of use of my wet room, the loss of use of my private dwelling. There is no evidence in any of a contract to state their buyers are lawful, claiming the need of my medical records. Pardon, I'll call your GP. No, you bloody won't. Well, private data by a housing employee who's been lying unlawfully for years, and to the former public servants in my area, and the communication I found out was only, again, on a personal attack on private life, right to private life. And they're using public servants in this area who have a meeting at 2 o'clock. It's rebranded a different heading now. The director, Adult Health Wellbeing, a woman called Catherine Angel, she's responsible for those that work for her, because you're meant to have all this respect, promoting individuals' wishes and choices, individually supporting the rights to control their lives and make informed decisions. Yeah, you don't make decisions for them, you support disabled people. So, servants, social work, records and procedures, assisting in their work environment as well, and meeting the standards of practice and working lawfully and safely. Well, that's not happened. Sue Jane, Sue, Emma, the civil servants, and they haven't acted lawfully appropriately. There's all these key previous documents. I've had problems with them doing their job lawfully. They have not been held accountable. They haven't respected my rights. They haven't even followed the lawful, correct procedures. They haven't protected the rights or the best interests of those in my position. Respecting where appropriate and promote the individual's views and wishes. Yeah, what happened to that during the past year to date? It hasn't happened before. And when I reported the breach of respecting and letting your dignity and privacy. So what's happened? I think I've got the photograph. Oh dear. So my wheelchair, it's on the right hand side. my right hand side. Don't think you can see it that clear on this picture. My mate took the wheelchair, caught the seat, and this area was my right side that's got injured, my right neck, and I can't lift. My mate's trying to hold this. One's had to sleep over in the settee to watch over me and try to help me. I can't hold anything. I sprained all of my hands, all my tendons, my neck is whiplash type injuries. That's another picture where the wall and the cupboard where it got crashed into this wheelchair caught all this because the hall lights was not working for myself again. Communal with the back of his party wall to the communal hallway wall. They weren't bloody on, were they, at 10 to 5 yesterday? Sorry, 10 to 6 last night. It's getting darker now. These so-called hall lights, censored versions of our bloody problems of people, whoever living in the block of flats, changing the sensor underneath these parts, and they're come on for those that can walk and their height, but not wheelchair people's heights. What if they're shorter? And I only went to check my electricity cupboard. That's a blurred picture. My key safe, the glass, the party wall or the communal board, they put posters up. And the whole electric cupboard of the hinges come off. And my wheelchair went that way, checked the there. And it literally, I don't know who the hell got the car, because I've done this so many times. Yesterday, as I said, it went bang. And that's a broken bit. That is the door on its hinge. As I said, my wheelchair went crash. So I've got whiplash. I don't feel the left side of my body. So the main of the body, I didn't feel the whiplash, the injuries, until I got in. I had to get the top of my electric. I only went to check it. And there's my wheelchair. It's in my coat. And it's that kind of plastic material, the door. You see how it got snapped right off. See how the impact was. It jerked me forward and back. And that's where my whiplash injuries have got. I can't afford to replace that door of 60-70 quid, and Home Group Limited won't repair it. Why don't you get your bloody lights sorted out? My mates need to clear that out for me. She's took the broken door and that part inside my flat. You can't replace. It's like a special plastic type door. They got the old labels still in each. It's really old. They still got these stickers in these cupboards, the way it's designed. They stick out from the wall. And it's built into the flats the way they're designed. Why can't they have the electricity built in, these designs built into people's homes rather than communal areas? Because I had a previous idiot that used to live on, I would sublet the flats out to. But anyway, these are the lights that weren't working yesterday. The communal back door entry where I live don't bloody work, the code. And they don't care. So yeah, great, eh? My family member contacted about the injuries. Well, I can't do much about that. I got my friends to check over me. Hope I'm not buffering. There's the pictures anyway. I've got a video, I think. Let me see if I've got the video. I thought it might be a video trick of this. I don't know. Don't know think what it is. I can't find the file right now. I thought anyway, there's pictures. Just checking the so despite my full rebuttal of previous breach of duty of care, your previous past years of home group limited company individuals, their responsible notice opportunity to cure without dishonour, they're causing me distress and harm, they're causing me unlawful disability, harassment, discrimination. And yet, despite you using their system in the UK called Housing Ombudsman Head Office in London, services they took less than 2 weeks to investigate, a whole 2 years of negligence. And yet, again, all these years prior to date, everything on the housing records is all slander, the personal attack on my life, my character, is people in social housing with adult health and social care needs. They just make up loads of BS and you're not living there. Anybody in my situation living in ground floor flats, are you still living there or are you pushing to care homes? And they say, despite the occupation therapy previous reports, despite need to make attachments, they won't do it because it's cheaper to put people like my situation into national, very expensive, costly to the public purse, assisted living type model housing, which is limited in my area, by the way, than there is making sure you can stay in your lawful right and secure tenure in your own home safely. So despite cease and desist from disclosing false information, malicious actions against me, and this has been going on for a long time, this document and this their third-party companies, a contract works too. It's not just me. I'm seeing reviews of other people of this national housing company. So this woman, Lisa, she got promoted to a PA job as personal assistant to the CEO after years of literally not doing a duty of care in a job role. was just literally gaslighting me and making sure that their individuals, I found out in a long story short, that the correct information about my situation doesn't get relayed to those that are online now, get their jobs for the day. And the workman is the one that's behind all this, complaining, moaning they can't get into a private dwelling before 1 o'clock, before I get my personal care, and then, dignity, my personal safety, my care, my own home, private dwelling. And how do I take this in their system to the High Court? There's not one housing lawyer, not one public lawyer, not one. Everybody I've gone to will take this up because they're well known, well, not internationally perhaps, but nationally well known for building new places, new buildings, new builds for profit, and not looking after what they've got. They have no investment in this area for years. Yeah, so this is my first-hand knowledge of the truth on first-hand evidence. And all my previous emails since our introduction to my house 2017 date, they left me months without a door lock. Previous OT reports all rejected. In statute law, my right to secure tenure is all unlawful victimisation and harassment. It's all been literally, I thought all this period of past year and a bit, the right support model of the care, planning, housing rights in statute law, health care, what it's meant to used to be known as, it's changed. There's no longer public funds to respect the human rights of disabled people in not just housing, but the severity of this now with another serious accident caused by the lack of their whole lights working. Despite, if there was, that alarm? Oh. If there was blind people living there, less other types of disabilities. It used to be this place years ago classed as rented out for disabled people, advertised as that. So it's not just one thing. There is no storage, there is no funding to put units up on the walls. There's no funding for disabled people to have support them. I can't even effing hold a bloody fork to feed myself. And I have to stay supporting my neck, because if I move, it just gets re-injured. All the tendons. Just stay with me and turn this device off, because I have to rest. a countrywide gardening company out of the social housing rent. To do what? To bloody go and sort the communal garden areas out. But let's put this on here. So, despite all the previous emails, and I've got to balance this device carefully at 10:30. I'm half asleep, so bear with me. I'm in a lot of pain in my muscles. So I'd already previously over the years documentation. All offers of previous OT oh dear. Order on housing records. All of these previously have been disregarded in the child community. These agents who entered, and it was called Mighty Property Services Limited. 1st of the 4th, 2019, 1 to 4, didn't do the gas boiler service right. It takes me longer to reach entry door when it doesn't even bloody work at the rear door in my wheelchair one-handed. Block 7 to 12. The intercom's not been working for years and they don't care. So basically I put in a query. Has there ever been raised concerns by these men and women in their job as an adult safeguarding policy concerned? If so, I require a full statement and disclosure. I too shall consider what evidence of personal knowledge of the facts. I am aware, fully aware, of my high disability needs. It's been like this for a long time, by the way. So basically, other dates that I originally offered again, going back, for example, 2 men that never met me, that looked on their computer screens and made a decision. Oh, we need to gut out the wet room. 2017. Well, the 8th of 11th, 2018, the date previously, 19th of September, Monday, 2017. Previous dates, 19th of the 9th, 2017, and Tuesday, especially when assumptions were made. The 26th of the 9th, 2017, and by Wednesday, I had a massive heart attack symptom and massive stroke, ended up in hospital in an emergency situation. Due to the fact that these men, prior to other dates already mentioned in my documentation, were going to work around me while still staying my own and to repair the floor, the wooden floor, and relay the lino, and Yeah, but this is all a breach of Equality Act, statute law. And that's 2010, section 2122. And that's a breach in statute or Housing Act 1989 and 1988, section 11. It's all previously made clear, and I require remedy or compensation to remedy this breach that led to my personal injury before, and now I've had another personal injury. So, they were not offered the repair to the level access shower in the wet room, which is left to the core. The causes of the additional mould and smell in the air is making my home without equality and making me ill. So they're quick to jump down on my throat to claim I'm not allowing entry to a private dwelling for their agents, employees and companies, which is I've rebutted and proved the dates of. For the gas boiling, you know. But yet, due to my complexity, medical disabilities and physical ill health, there's already limited information to aid them for years on the housing records, and claim, oh, we don't have that during the past year to date on our records. Of course they do. So, how on earth, without checking all their correct facts, you know, do I need to use their Kango court system where they have a bunch of lawyers and it's just me and many disabled people like me are being misinformed of their lawful due process of rights? I've only under duress reoffered several dates these past months to deliberately be blocked. Now, I did inquire independent support to housing floating support services like it used to be years ago. Oh no, that's all cut back as well. That's another reason why I cannot cope with face-to-face offers of meetings. The trauma in my life, effects of a crime, still ongoing. Now, to move things forward, I previously offered temporarily the hotel round the corner. I'll be safe and I could move there for 2 weeks so they could do the job they need to do in here. And they blocked all that funding. So this Diana woman, she went behind my back last year without my consent to this adult house social care department or the public funded services individuals, civil servants. And I got all this evidence these past months. Because my medical NHS loan quit monkeys, the personal effect of my personal situation, and nor do they refrain from trigger and blaming the disabled people. Oh, they've caused this, they've caused that. So of course, sustained another injury yesterday for their negligence. I can't take it, this won't go nowhere. Because if you didn't realise, national housing companies, social housing, pay a fee yearly to the Housing Ombudsman Services Company, that's how they make their income, to protect the image of these corporations, social housing. And you don't get a remedy that way. I've done all that. I never ever got an upgrade to the kitchen when everyone able-bodied people around here got theirs in 2013. So, all these years of secure tenure can't just move because you lose your secure rights. There isn't any secure housing in statute or available for people in my situation. So this document, they don't read. It detailed all the points, evidence of points of fact. And so, all are keeping records, they are. Making assumptions on not letting people in my home when they cold call. So, I was led to believe a temporary, they call it a temporary decant, but it's not. Well, provided by the housing company, in-house representative as a lawyer, the evidence of documentation that they're going to pay for my costs of the hotel, my costs of putting my belongings in a storage company, cost to get it delivered there, secure the evidence of fact my secure tenure still remains as that, who these company individuals, men or women, how long they require to come to my private dwelling for, and what if anything goes wrong in my private dwelling, then I require the terms, how they're going to put things right. And not say halfway through the works, claiming, oh now it's too complicated, we can't do the works after all. So you're stuck in the hotel, and then it goes into the hands of, when you're physically disabled, on an emergency basis, it would be then with the adult health social care side of it all. When there isn't any proper secure rehousing, and what happens? Like before, you end up in emergency placement, end up anywhere, and that affects you financially. These men and women in these placements don't know what your needs are. They haven't got your computer records correct. They're just going on assumptions. You're already distressed by unlawful discrimination, and it just goes round in circles. So, previous offers on the 4th of the 9th, 2017, and here I am now, 2019, they haven't done bugger all. And the complete experiences of all this and complete horrendous disadvantage and discrimination, and the effects of me are witnessed, streamed on my video, well, live feed. My daughter, not at the time, witnessed, ended up in hospital. And this is how incompetent Home Group Limited is individuals. I couldn't speak for the third day, and some idiot housing individual, especially still working in this area, she called at a mobile, trying to demand, trying to do psychological bullying. Why I'm not at home? There's a maintenance surveyor at your home, all without my knowledge and consent, knowing full well I'm in emergency hospital and the door is unsecure, and how the police and ambulance crew had to get in to rush me to hospital, and how eventually I was able to inform the housing that the door wasn't secure. Well, they didn't care. So you see, all of this documentation is quite detailed and long. A woman called Diana just call the surname R, is been behind pushing this since 2017 to an awful assumption. Oh, do you want me to ring your GP for you? No, that's my private life, my data. I've already limited access to the system enough to assist me. But she completely took it completely behind my back in 2018 again. Made lies up about me again, and you don't use their system. Complaints procedure gets nowhere. They cover it all up. This document was amended a few times. The facts, how despite what disabled people's lawful rights are, I'll give you one example of what Diana Rose tried to do with another individual female. And that was 31st of the 10th. And that was 2017. Cold call at my home. That offer was rejected. Prior to that, I made it clear. Again, I'd offered a place that meets my needs in Blackpool, you see. As that's a specialist type hotel with people with my abilities. I could be there by the coast 2-3 weeks at the max, and everything else, as I said, were put in place in writing, and then could get the job done. But no, they didn't want to pay for that either. So this is why I use the system. I'd assumed it might get somewhere, but it never did. No. They kept cold calling. They kept using their behaviours, kept constantly, beginning of this year as well, to date. You see, they left cards on the communal area floor by my flat door. For example, Monday the 25th of the 3rd, 2019 at 8:20 AM. Unlawful victimisation again, harassment. So instead of reframing from their actions, I get blamed. So I can dish acceptance of their offers, me counterclaiming, knowing what I know in contract law. I said, I shall allow entry to my private dwelling on my terms, as long as it's afternoon. So all these recent, again, appointments I'd re-offered to do the gas boiler safety check. Well, instead now, the Home Good Limited Company, its employees as agents, have applied to go to Ministry of Justice, who runs all the England administrative court procedures, maritime law, administrative law, to force a court order to force entry now into my home, on the assumptions of health and safety now. Yep, it's malicious. The comments, the actions, behaviours, they had all along intention to do this. And this is breach national protection of vulnerable adults, serious disabled men and women, and all of it's clear. So the previous job reference number was 52338. So the complete unlawful disadvantage and favours to date of repairs. I'm not going to get this, what happened to me yesterday. I'm not going to get that repaired. So this was amended as authorised agent representative going back 29th of the 3rd 2019 and previously. Yeah. And if I say I got injured again last night for their negligence, bracket 11. So I just found this documentation. So I contacted a no-win, no-fee lawyer, right? And the photographs of housing disrepair, and my friend emailed just gone September, end of September 2019. And I sought clarification. So they're up in Liverpool, trading as a company as Cheshire Estates and Legal Limited. The photos of the 17th of their email. Stephen H, just call him that. He's not an office manager, a file handler. He's actually the managing director. So all the evidence of their company, and all they did was not a contract, was a phone sheet documentation using statute law. You can't make this up. Personal injury sustained. GP name, practice, location. I can't visit the effing offer a GP, and they don't offer a visit to me anymore. Have you mentioned your housing condition? Of course I have. And then on their blank documentation, disrepair barbering. This is not a contract offer. So it goes in. I don't know if this is streaming. I'll check this. I catch nothing but breath today. So I'm just checking if this is streaming on the channel. Trying to find the courage to be strong. I'm just checking this string. I'm just checking this string. Okay. So we've got this BS going.
That is block that we're the penny spouse for, we would not need. Flow would continue. So we just absolutely need individuals. Every time we meet anybody from a haulage company to say to them, you know, are you Brexit ready? They should have been written to by government a number of times, different departments, HMRC, etc. They should have seen the adverts. They've been in the papers. They're on motorway gantries. There are pop-up sites up and down the country. We're using trade press. All sorts of different opportunities for them to notice, but it is their living. And the one thing when I used to work with the haulage industry importing fruit and veg, as I did, the one thing I know that hauliers are very good at is, yeah, they'll put off things to the last minute because you have some extra expense which you don't necessarily want to take on board. But when you know that this is your livelihood, that is, and the people that work for you,
Well, that's just BS about the UK. Where I'm saying, what is in line for disabled people in social housing? So let me see the reality of disabled people in social housing. Do a search. Six months ago, supported housing. Right, let's have a look at this one.
Andy Thompson had a stroke 3 years ago and now needs a walking stick to get around. He gave up his home because of his disability and was offered a council flat on the 10th floor of a tower block.
Straight away, when I started to realise that just the extra distance involved and the extra time involved standing, which causes pain and discomfort in my right.
Let me just read this. So there's what happened in Glenville Towers in London. Questions are being raised about the safety of social housing, including why people with disabilities are allocated flats on upper floors of tower blocks. It doesn't go into actually specifics. The bits I'm trying to look for. How housing? What about in the UK? Affordable homes for all people with disabilities. What high up in? Now that's another guy we interviewed. How the hell are we going to manage living with disabilities? Other guardians. Why are they housing adaptations grants for people with disabilities? Then you got how disabled housing for people with disabilities. Fighting for accessible housing, equality and human rights is a joke. That's a year ago. What is it like now? Thinking about housing people with disabilities. Really? So that 2 years ago, let's just So the Home Group Limited is, you know, pushing for construction and for other types of unseen disabilities. But what about the physical disabilities? So it goes out, applying to rent a property from Home Group. What to do if you're struggling to pay rent? How to report repair to Home Group? And finding the cause and proven solution. Offers work that takes you out of your home 2 years ago. Right, why haven't
Well, Home Group is one of the largest providers of care and support in the UK. We have around 550 bespoke sort of specialist supported housing schemes. We work with 35,000 clients a year offering our care and support service, and I think we partner around 140 local authorities and more NHS trusts and CCGs in delivering those services. The benefit that the NHS and care actually can receive by working with an organisation such as Home Group is massive. So the big issue is services together into one and realise the benefits of community-based services that care can offer and how that can complement and improve.
People come out of hospital, they're supported, and sometimes people can fall through the net.
Yes, they do.
And if they're returning to an isolated situation with no support and possibly poor housing conditions, then then they can rapidly deteriorate again, even if they've improved during their hospital stay.
This is 4 years ago. It's now 2019. It's got worse. It's absolutely got worse. And that was Home Group Limited. And 2 years ago you had Mark Henderson. They select those who want to uploading the AGM. A profit-making company. Let's go back. How to report to repair. Should we check that 2 years ago?
When you signed your tenancy agreement, you will have been given information on which repairs are your responsibility and which Home Group is responsible for. It's really important you check first if it's a minor
Let's go back.
minor repair that you should do yourself. You can do this by visiting the Home Group website or referring to your customer handbook. To help you with some of the easier jobs in your home, we've created a handy DIY section on our website where you can find hints and tips on carrying out minor repairs, including our own how-to film guides. You should always consult a reputable tradesperson or seek advice and help if you're unsure about how to carry out a repair or if it's unsafe for you to carry out the work yourself.
Yeah, so they can't repair. Local charities don't assist disabled people anymore because they're funding cutbacks. And this is 2 years on from this on. Go and check their YouTube channel as well. What about applying for home group? Let's have a look at 2017.
If you're interested in one of our properties, the easiest way is to visit our website. Some of the homes we have available can be found here, but not all. And when you've found somewhere you like the look of, go to the Rent Inquiry page in the Rent a Home section and open our Rent a Home form. Fill it in, it won't take you long, and submit. But before you do, you might want to check if you qualify to rent one of our properties. Click on the Are You Eligible part of the Rent a Home page. Then click on the link that tells you how your application is assessed. And if it's accepted, you'll receive a letter confirming which property band you're in. But be aware that we don't accept direct applications from some areas, as there may be agreements in place with local authorities and other housing providers to participate in local choice-based letting schemes.
Yeah.
Our online live chat customer service team will be able to...
Computer Centre, Call Centre, Allocations, Reduction, Statute Act 2017 means disabled people gets one choice only, and take it or leave it, you don't get anything. That's what it's like, reality. And this website, their YouTube channel, is the full truth. So let's see why and what's causing all this. And on top, Brexit PS.
You don't satisfy my expectations
Get rid of
anymore.
the adverts in this channel.
And failure to do so, or being in breach of the directions given, the driver could receive a summary conviction with a penalty of £300. This legislation is due to come in possibly by the day after the 31st of October. It will remain law until December 2020. I take it that this date, and I ask for clarification from the Minister, is to coincide with the end of the transition period as it currently is in law. This legislation is a fallback position for times of severe disruption, and of course even the threat of this proves the scale of the risks that border chaos could cause. While the vast majority of goods flow through Kent, are there other similar provisions being made around the other ports in the UK, including the enhanced powers of traffic officers, and if so, at which ports? How will traffic officers police this process, and how many more will be deployed in Kent to manage this process? Will new officers be recruited, or will officers be transferred from other places? The Minister also referred to DVSA staff, and I inquire whether or not more DVSA staff are being recruited, as I know that the service is already under severe pressure with regards to staffing. If traffic proves to be more severe than set out in this order, does the government plan to bring forward further legislation? Again, this is unclear. Today's legislation highlights the serious risks associated with a no-deal Brexit, and for that reason Labour are focused on ensuring that this government takes it off the table.
Thank
you. Can I just ask a couple of questions? What is the processing capacity that you expect for HGVs in the junction area that you said on the M20? Because I'm concerned whether that's enough. And my second question is, what are the facilities?
That's talking about if there's a problem with the Brexit delivering goods into England. And that's not related to the concerns. And let's go back to what Wishing was trying to search for, with the rights of disabled housing. So people with disabilities trapped in care. Let's check that 4 years ago.
Discover Audible with a free audiobook on us.
I'll just play it. Without the ad.
As the door shut on my bedroom the very first night, I thought, that's it.
That's the door of my life closing. This is where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. Somebody with acquired brain injury does not need to live in these conditions.
Aged 18, James was assaulted and thrown to the ground from 4.5 metres high.
That is not the one I'm looking for either. I'm talking about England. There's one. Equality and Human Rights, 1 year ago. Accessible housing. How do you even get that?
So last time I met you, like I said, we only got a little bit of time to kind of say hello and goodbye, really, didn't we?
Yeah.
So what's your experience then with housing so far?
For at least 2 years, I didn't have proper access to any kind of bathing facilities, so I was just having to like have the equivalent of bed baths sort of, which
wouldn't it?
It did affect me in a way anyway, because I didn't go out as much socially because I knew that was what my head was full of, and I didn't particularly want to bore people. You kind of forget how much that freshness of like just a quick shower can sort of make you feel so much better.
I realised quite early on you had to be quite self-involved in order to get the answers, because nobody at the council will tell you the same story. When I looked at 3 properties that I bid on, the first 3 that I was actually winning the bid on after 15, 16 months, it was a case of turning up and finding out that they weren't adaptable at all. Unless I bid on a property that was already adapted, I wasn't going to get it. And that's adapted for who? Because whoever was in that property before, they wouldn't have had the same needs as me, and vice versa.
Yeah, that was the main issue for me as well. It's like they didn't want to give me a property unless it was perfectly fitted to my needs, and I was like, but I can manage with this and that, as long as it's like level access, I can manage. One time they even said, oh, but it needs to have an adapted kitchen, and I was like, but I don't do any of my own cooking myself anyway.
Being on the ground floor in this flat was perfect. It's just made a big difference to my health as well. Being able to kind of reclaim a bit of my mobility, because I'm not having to struggle with stairs, because that was just really draining on me physically, and I didn't work as much because it meant going out 2 or 3 times a day was just not an option.
So it affected your income as well?
Yeah, pretty much everything. Now the proper ramp's on, as long as it's not raining, it's quite a smooth entrance in. I don't know if you experienced this as a working disabled woman. Did you find that there was kind of surprise that you had those needs, that you actually had a job to go to and you wanted to do that?
Yeah, I've actually had an experience that my intelligence is a negative thing in terms of like getting support.
What advice would you give to people at this point, with hindsight?
Writing to MPs, getting in touch with local councillors, OTs and social services, and you've got disabled people's organisations. Make as many contacts with do as much research as you can, and if you struggle with researching and finding your way through systems, find someone who you trust, who can help you with that.
And it's just about having that foundation place, isn't it, so that you can actually have choices, and that's the same things that everyone else is, whether it's going out to the park or going to work or going into education.
I think the really important thing is that there needs to be a change in like disabled people being seen as people that can add value, not just people that are just sat at home doing nothing. If they are, then that's probably because society is.
Well, that's one. That's the only video I've come across. Hidden crisis in social housing for disabled people. And that was two disabled women talking about their fight to get essential adaptations made to each of their homes and of advised disabled people. That was just a very short clip. There isn't anything accessible. They won't repair my own. They want to push people now in 2019 into care homes, assisted living models. What's meant to happen is not happening in the United Kingdom, in England. Yeah, so they just want me out of my own home, and now I've sustained an injury. Thanks very much, Home Group Limited Company. Another housing injury. And I don't know if this is recording, so I'm going to go back out and check it. It's unbelievable. So I'm just going to check this out. The bandwidth says there's something wrong, so let me just have a look. The bandwidth says there's something wrong, so let me just have a look.
If you're these are.
So you have to excuse me with the bandwidth, and going to find a way and to the format. Yeah, bandwidth's getting bad, so I'm going to end the stream now and rest. So, UK disabled people housing injury. Oh, thanks for coming, my friends in now. Oh, thank goodness. No. Herbal drink, please, and painkillers for my muscles. Just make sure the heating is on, please. Yeah. Heating on. Okay, so much for that, isn't it? Yes. No, my muscles. Yeah. So, I've been hit, I don't really ask, but it is about what's the time? 11:30. Where? I need to restrain, to be careful myself. Despite you can only need such for housing available. Ground floor flat, the documents evidence is just targeting vulnerable disabled people in the UK, and I'm just, to be independent living, they call it. Changes are here. I even looked into other types of housing. It's a new type of contract housing, and despite meeting the age bracket, age remit, even blocked me for that. It's just targeting people who've got a complexity in their physical disabilities and not the correct training in men and women, the job roles and the crisis in adult health, social care, again, England, the whole bloody world system is all profit making, and public's paying the wages of these and yet meant healthy alarms because I have to rest in bed today. My muscles are really take the mind off the pain in it. There's something I can do when my muscles are just not working because of the bloody injuries. Yeah. So I've got a muscles torn. There's nothing mainstream medical people can do because I'm on the painkillers already, and it's the muscles trying to heal, and the strain and the ligaments are the worst thing trying to heal. Yeah, so main thing is to get waking up with all this stiffness and all that is the worst thing. So the heat pads are natural, heat pads, the ice packs and bandages to support the strain on my wrists and my fingers. Yeah, you need the table and a massive great big towel because I can't even hold a bloody simple spoon because it's straining all my muscles, my hands, my wrists and my arms. I don't know anywhere else but NHS England funded medical practices, and especially in my area, there isn't anything available. So it's about learning self-care, and what with this BS Brexit thing going on, just and about natural health and self-care best as possible. Right to exist in a safe environment, but it's all about cutbacks and pushing people into again. And then you got, if they paid the right people the right wages in the public sector, and those are meant to help people in my situation, could things be any better? Who knows? If you got similar experiences in parts of England, and then leave me a message. Yeah. My mate's gonna check online to see natural way, how long it takes for the body to heal. We're all different, aren't we? Yeah, so get them bloody communal lights repaired and get them working lawfully and effectively and go in this out. Yeah.